Hello. I am one of your hosts. Welcome to the Pumped Up Tea podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Sarah.
And we just happen to be Vanderpump Rules super fans. We have a lot to cover right now.
So much. That was a premiere.
Yes. So before we go too deep into the Vanderpump premiere for season 11, I think it might be a good touch to let everybody know just, how we got here.
Oh, that's my fault.
Yes. So it was only less than a year ago. I was still, I had never seen a Bravo show in my entire life.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And, we went to work one day and it just happened to have been fresh after what we know today to be Scandal.
Yes. I had no one to talk to about it. I had my best friend, but we had already talked it out and I was still feeling things. So I went to work. And I said to Taylor, I'm like, I know you know nothing about what is happening, but this very huge scandal is dropping and I need to talk about it. So I trauma dumped the entire thing to her in 20 minutes. And then she's just like, I'm just going to binge watch it. And I'm like, no, you really need to. And so here we are.
And that I did. I did binge watch it pretty intensely. I think I covered the entire season 1 through 10 in 2 months?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was also watching season 10 as
I had her as
on.
Soon as Scandal dropped. We ended up watching the end of the season.
We did.
Yeah. I already knew all the tea because I have been watching since season 1, crazy Bravo person.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So, listen, ever since then I've been hooked. Our producer, Max, is also currently in the mix of getting himself very deeply involved in.
We're just going to pull everybody in.
Yeah, pretty much. We're at the end of season 8 right now. So
that's pre-COVID. That's Stassi and Bo's last season.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Oh, that's Jax and Brittany's wedding season.
Yes, it is. We just saw them get married, and then there's still the rest of the season to go, which was kind of crazy because in hindsight, we had Sheena and Shay's wedding at the end of season 3, 4?
Season 3. See, it was season 3.
Season 3. And then we had Katie and Tom Schwartz's wedding at the end of season
6.
6.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And so Jax and Brittany's wedding was smack in the middle of season
8. It was. Yeah. I think that it must have just been when they could get the Kentucky Castle.
And yeah, and then we still had a whole rest of the season to go. And it's honestly,
the rest of that season was a fever dream. Was Stassi's proposal, but Beau's proposal was post-wedding.
Mm-hmm. We actually haven't seen that episode yet. Well, I have. He hasn't seen that episode yet. We're almost there.
I loved it. That was that right there showed that Beau knew Stassi better than any boyfriend she had. Because who proposes to someone in a cemetery? Only Stassi's husband.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And now here they are, 2 kids in. So.
Yes. Oh my God! Yes,
mm-hmm.
That's right. They proposed, and then Brittany was sad that Lisa threw Stassi's engagement party at her house.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And she only got Lisa coming to her apartment. So many things happened post-wedding, and I think I was just that wedding is just so much.
It kind of makes sense now as to why, they're not friends anymore.
Well, they're not friends anymore because
they didn't go to her wedding.
They didn't go to her wedding, and Jax was shitting on the wedding and Beau and Stassi in a group chat that Beau was in. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And they had RSVP'd, yes, were set to go to the wedding, and then 2 days before they flew to Italy, they said they weren't going. So they took up 2, and it was a very limited guest list because they had to cut it short because they were supposed to get married during COVID
time, yeah.
So the guest list was already way smaller than they anticipated it to be. And then, so they had these 2 spots for their thought were their friends, and they just never showed up.
Oh boy!
They said it was for Cruz's passport, but I just think they didn't want to go.
But we'll go into season 11, the premiere.
Yeah,
I guess where we can start with this is I actually getting ready for this podcast, getting ready for Sarah to come. I was actually watching the whole marathon of the end of season 10, and this was a nice little refresher as to just what kind of shit show we're about to go into, because now I feel like we're kind of on the heels of what happens now,
Yes.
right? Post Scandal.
Yeah. So they're 3 months out now.
Mhm.
3 months past the reunion. So everything has definitely settled.
Everything's definitely settled for
Yep.
sure. Has everybody processed everything?
Absolutely
Maybe not. No.
I have not processed everything, and I wasn't even a part of it.
I know. I feel like even everybody who wasn't necessarily a part of it but had to witness it all, like,
Yes.
I feel like we've all just been through a whole summer of
Yes.
just processing
And
everything.
I think, too, is because it was a consistent information, like, barrage on you all the time. And it's still that way because the Toms were on that podcast today. Rachel has her podcast, and I feel like I'm consistently learning things, or a lie is being like rectified in a way. And so
and accountability still has yet to be taken on a lot of accounts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, I guess. But yes, it's like information overload. So
yeah. So with that said, we'll go straight into. I have a whole notepad here.
Thank God you took notes because I was so into it. I forgot to tell you anytime I wanted to talk about something.
And we were playing the drinking game too on top of that.
The drinking game, yes, on the Sir Rules. Is it the Sir Rules Instagram?
Yes.
I stopped sooner than you did.
Yeah,
I switched, but it's okay.
That's the end of my like third or fourth glass at this point. I have a nice buzz going, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
If I didn't have to drive home, I definitely would have drank more. But we're responsible adults in this house, people.
Exactly. We don't drink and drive here.
Do not drink and drive.
So season 11 premiere. Here we go. We basically start off with a very quick, 3 or 4 months after the affair has been unloaded, the reunion has happened. Where is everybody now? So we have James and Allie settling into their new home.
I love them together.
I do too.
I think Allie is like a voice of reason almost with her quirky little self.
I feel like James too has also just gotten remotely just better with each relationship he's been in. He was obviously really bad with Kristen.
Oh, horrible with Kristen.
He was still also really bad with Raquel, but slightly better because the seeds were being planted, I feel like, towards his sobriety.
Yes.
And he was sober for a little bit.
I think that the engagement year, which, full disclosure, I do not remember anything from that season. COVID was a weird time for all of us. Yeah, but I think that definitely that last 6 months, year, that last season of them as a couple was definitely, James was at his best with her. But he's definitely, Allie is the one, I think.
Yeah. I think Allie will definitely be the one for sure.
I love that they have a house now. Although I think it's just James's house.
It's James's house, but he and Allie live together in the house. So it's basically their house.
Yeah. With little Hippie.
Hippie now.
Hippie.
Oh, Hippie wasn't there yet.
No, Hippie's not there yet.
We're going to see Hippie.
I can't wait for him.
Later in the season. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that happens.
Yes.
But going on to everybody else, we actually start the season as well with Ariana making her own cappuccinos and giving herself a cute little cinnamon heart. I loved that.
I want that little puffer thing that was so cute.
Somebody link that if there's somebody out there in the void that we're currently speaking to.
Yes.
Please send us a link to that because we don't know where anything is these days.
No, probably just an Amazon find or something.
It probably is. We'll end up probably finding this ourselves because we are currently speaking into the void. But
into the
void. We find out though at this point in time, Rachel is still at the facility and she is currently sending Tom Sandoval postcards to the house that Ariana is still living in.
The audacity, and to put the of all the postcards of Arizona that you can pick from, you pick a lightning bolt. The self-awareness is a non-existent.
I just don't get it. I really don't.
You can rack your brain for a year, almost a year post Scandival, and it still makes absolutely no sense. No. It makes no sense.
Especially now too with Rachel coming out and telling more of the truth on the podcast. I really just don't know if I fully understand the situation. I don't really know what's going on. And even if she's telling us the whole thing, I'm but why are you like this?
Why are we doubling down on no accountability?
Right. Yes, I get it. to a point you were manipulated by this man.
Oh, absolutely.
He is evil.
I think almost in the same way that Ariana was when they first got together.
Yes.
But that just because you were manipulated or gaslit or whatever you want to say, that doesn't necessarily negate your, I don't know, problem in it, your whatever you want to call it, participation. Like you can have been, well, it's like Lala, like with Lala's situation, she's taking accountability for the fact that she was a mistress, even though she very much was manipulated by Randall. And though every time I say Randall, I have the image of, it's not her ex-fiance in my head. It is absolutely Randall from Monsters, Inc. And I know that is not who it is, but every time I just associate it now with the little like lizard monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which probably isn't a bad thing if, you know.
We have this one scene that is constantly popping up in our brain because from our rewatch. And James just is going in on Randall, basically saying like, "Oh, produced by Fat Man," and just going in on.
Oh my God, the Fat Man pays your rent.
Remember how shit of a movie Mag Steel was? Because I do.
Oh my God! And when they did the was it Gaudy?
Yes,
premiere.
That was actually around the time when that scene came
and
out.
she tried to tell Lisa it's because people don't like mafia movies.
Okay.
But again, she's in the cloud. You're in the cloud of this man that supposedly loves you and is taking care of you.
Mm-hmm. So
Rachel clearly still was at the rehab center, mental health center, which
we'll get into that right now too. We go into Sheena and Brock, and they are just hanging out with Summer Moon.
Oh my God,
cute as can be.
So cute.
And so they're talking, and basically at this point in time, it sounds like Sheena says that, you know, Rachel is in at least 45 days in to the mental health facility.
Yes. And then they said she was extending it.
Yes. She had extended it. So she was going in for another 30 days, which makes sense because she was there for a whole 90 days. So this was like right in the middle of her stay. I guess Tom Sandoval's really close friend, Ali, had just passed away. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as sad as that is, you know, losing a friend, it's a very, very sad instance. I don't really know what happened, but
I think it's one of those instances where it's kind of okay to message the person. Like when she texted him, that was kind of a moment. If I was Ariana, I'd be like, yeah, obviously.
Like, that's not a huge deal.
No. I mean, they lost someone that's really close to you, I think.
So,
regardless.
Yes. So, Sheena goes to reach out to Tom. You know, I just want to extend my condolences. If you need anything, let me know. Everything, you know, along those lines. I want to make sure you're okay. And I guess Tom's reaction to all of that is to just block her and all of her social media platforms, including Summer Moon.
The poor baby.
Poor Summer Moon, man.
You know what, though? I mean, I get it. I said this to you when we were watching What Happens Live. We were saying that it's a way for her to get in touch with him. So I understand it in a way that maybe it's not necessarily Summer Moon that he's blocking, but if it's an outlet for Sheena to get in contact with him.
Or even to just, like, see how he's doing or, you know, whatever. It is what it is.
But if it's linked to her main account, it isn't. I don't know how Instagram works. I act like I do, and I have absolutely no idea. But if she is Summer Moon's account is linked to Sheena's regular account, isn't just blocking that one account block all accounts?
No, you would have to block each account like individually in order to actually you're just blocking the user. You're not blocking.
See, like I said, I have absolutely no idea. I've never had to block anyone.
Yeah,
that's a lie.
Actually. Oh, I block people all the time.
I was just gonna say I've never blocked. That's a lie. I have blocked someone.
So now we are at Lala. Lala's basically just kind of working through her trauma. Mm-hmm. You know, she just went through, or she's currently going through a whole custody battle between her and Randall for sweet little Ocean. Also cute kid.
Oh, cutest little tiny tot.
And, you know, because of just everything that she had dealt with when it comes to just the Randall saga, she's kind of just questioning everything at this point. And,
Mhm.
you know, she mentions that Ariana has a new man, and
Yes.
she's very quick to kind of be like,
Yes.
what are your motives here?
I think any friend, though, would question. Like, if you, not that you and Max are ever going to break up, we are ride or die for Max.
We love Max.
I think that if you got in a relationship that quickly, like 10 days after, I think I too would be like, girly,
Like, what are you doing?
what are you doing? I think I would also be wary of this man.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, what? Especially at the level of fame that she is now. I think no matter who it is, they could be like a knight in shining armor. It could be freaking Prince Charming, and I still would be like, dude,
Like,
who are you, and why are you talking to my best friend?
Yes, exactly. So next scene comes in. James and Schwartz are getting together for lunch, and Schwartz makes sure to point out that he is finally comfortable enough to wear his Schwartz and Sandy's hat. Just given all of the backlash that Schwartz and Sandy's had dealt with throughout this.
That was definitely
year.
their downfall of naming the bar. I mean, I get wanting to name your bar after you, but that was definitely their downfall. They didn't think that one all the way through.
Well, so it sounds like Schwartz did, because remember, that was probably one of the biggest arguments that they had. And we saw that. I don't remember what season that was. That might have been season 9.
Is that the COVID season?
It might have been.
Season 9. I really should go back and watch that season.
I know. We're like so close to getting to season 9. So we are going to watch the conception of Schwartz and Sandy's. And I remember there was a part where naming the bar was probably one of their largest arguments.
Yes.
And Sandoval was very, very persistent in making sure that Schwartz and Sandy's was the name. And sure enough, that's what it ended up being, because Schwartz folded, because Schwartz gets steamrolled by
folds all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Ridiculous.
Man needs to grow a backbone.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to love Schwartz, too. I used to really love Schwartz.
You know, I keep going back and forth because it's like, I like Schwartz. I think he's a nice enough guy.
I think when he's outside of the influence of Tom and Jax, like that scene with, like his scene with James, like if he was like that all the time and just, I think I would like him.
Yeah.
But it's like he gets, I don't know. It's like when he's around larger personalities, he just kind of molds himself and just follows with it.
He's kind of what I call like a social chameleon.
Yes, I was going to say chameleon. Yeah. Yeah. Which like I get. I used to be that way. Like you contort yourself into whatever situation you're in because it's more comfortable. Mm-hmm. But also like stand up for yourself or your wife.
Especially your wife.
God, Katie's better off without him, but.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying, I was telling you this too, even like after season 10. I was like, I feel like this is going to be Katie's season. I went through the entire show, seasons 1 through 10. I personally wasn't really always a Katie fan.
No, I will openly admit that I think hate is a strong word. I disliked her heavily on a couple of seasons, especially her wedding season or the wedding planning season when they went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
That one was rough. The way she is with Sheena sometimes is really rough to watch.
Even Raquel too, because that was back when like we actually felt somewhat bad for her, minus the part where she still went for Schwartz.
Oh, that girls' night that they had where they like dressed up.
Yeah.
They were definitely very hard on Rachel, whoever she is now.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think that a lot of that had to do with Schwartz's energy that he would pass on to her. So, you know, I think that this is going to be a really big Katie season. So even though I didn't like her for these first 10 seasons, I really think that am going to end up liking her for this season.
Yeah. Her reaction when Lala brought up she voice noted Rachel was iconic. Just... You did not.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a good Katie season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So going back to Schwartz, he opens up about just the past year for him. I guess his family has been going through a lot of health issues.
His brother, one of the triplets.
Yep. One of the triplet brothers has been diagnosed with cancer. So Hopefully he has been doing really well. We don't really get too many updates when it comes to the health of his family, but it sounds like everything has been pretty good for the most part. We haven't heard any bad news, so no news.
No news is good news. Yes.
So
should check the subreddits. I'm on 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Like a Bravo maniac.
Yep. Let's get those spoilers in. James is sober, also, by the way.
Sober James is the best James. I said this to you when we were watching. He looked really good in that scene. He just looked.
Yeah.
He looked better. He looked healthy.
I was just going to say, this is probably the healthiest that James had ever looked throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
So I really think that Allie has a great effect on him for this reason.
The California sober is a good look for him.
Yes, because, he did say he was still smoking. So,
it's legal and he could be doing worse things.
Exactly. Right. So next scene comes and Sheena and Ariana are getting together for a couples massage. They're catching up. They talk a little about Dan. Dan might be really good with kids because he's got, what did she say, like 2 nephews?
2 nephews, yes.
And then Sheena kind of mentions in her confessional that she thinks that Ariana might not have fully processed the breakup as of yet.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I don't think you're going to fully process a breakup or a betrayal like that for quite a while.
And I don't think jumping into a relationship 10 days after the fact means that you're just automatically healed.
Oh, you're definitely not. No, she's going to have that's a traumatic experience because it's like I had said to you, even though they were not married, that was essentially her husband. The only difference was that there wasn't a piece of paper. But that was essentially her husband. They lived together. They had been together for almost a decade. And then for him to betray you in your home for months with your supposed friend is not something you very much get over at the drop of a hat. That's something you're going to need a therapist and a tequila for.
Yep. So, we are definitely going to go a little bit more into that in a little bit. But, Sheena also opens up about her OCD diagnosis. So she's also been kind of going through it a little bit.
Which I think talking about something like that on the show, neither of us are mothers, but I think having that storyline is a great thing.
Mental health wise,
postpartum wise,
I think it's good to spread a little bit more awareness on these, mental health issues that come, especially from being postpartum.
Yes,
it's hard.
Yes,
it's really hard to deal with.
It's nice to
the things that she's going through.
Nice to see Sheena with a storyline that's not betrayal, drama, like something that is personal to her that she.
And that type of stuff just kind of, I feel like, heightens her condition.
Yes. Well, it looks like she's going to get into some drama. It's Sheena. She's always going to get into drama. But I look forward to seeing this storyline from her.
Yeah.
As someone with anxiety. Like, there was a couple of times where she was talking about her anxious thoughts. And I was like, oh, girl, same.
Yeah. Understood. And then Ariana basically mentions that she's got the Toms completely blocked everywhere, which, reasonable.
Oh, absolutely reasonable. I would never unblock Scandival literally ever. That man, that worm with a mustache would be blocked for all eternity. I do not care. Like Queen Taylor Swift says, you do not need to forgive nor forget to move on.
And by the way, we still haven't seen Sandoval because I guess he's still off filming Special Forces at this point in time. If anybody had seen it, it was quite a display that he put on there.
The only clip I ever saw was JoJo Siwa carrying him across a field, and it had come up on my TikTok page. Or you sent it to me on TikTok. It was something like that. And that's the only clip I've ever seen, the only clip I will see, and it was the only clip I will ever need to see. Because there will be nothing better than watching that man be carried by JoJo Siwa.
Well, actually, there was another really great scene, and it was him getting completely beat up and punched in the face repeatedly. It was a wonderful scene.
Oh, I wonder if Ariana got to watch that.
I hope she did.
Isn't there also a scene with the people hosting or the Special Forces guys that are going in on him about taking accountability or you keep saying it's not your fault, blah blah blah. Yeah. I think I saw a clip like that, but you're not going to get through that, man.
He was trying to play the victim. And
it's his favorite thing to do is play the victim. He's going to play it all season.
Yeah, he was basically trying to do that the entire time, and the DSs saw right through that.
Anyone with a working brain cells is going to see right through that.
it was a pretty embarrassing display on him, but I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet if you're trying to watch it, but just the way he goes out is just very Tom Sandoval fashion.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to have to Google it.
Yeah, it was well worth the watch. So next scene, we have Ariana on FaceTime with Dan.
Oh, precious.
She is preparing to go to James's show at Tom Tom.
Yeah.
And, a little nervous. Apparently, it's her first time going back to Tom Tom since the incident.
I had no idea this whole time that it happened at Tom Tom.
I knew that there was a show.
I didn't realize that the phone drop was Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I learned that tonight. That was a shocker. I can see why she's avoided it.
It almost sounds poetic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they showed the scene of Ariana and Katie walking in.
Oh, God. It broke my heart.
I know.
It actually
alongside the flashback of the first time they walked in.
And the way that he talked, when they were going through those flashbacks of the talks that they have had at Tom Tom, the one in the back when they had the preview party, the actual opening, the time that she was talking about her mental health in that back room.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard to watch and to hear how he spoke to her. And
it's like he was a different person.
A completely different person. It was a completely different person. That Tom, especially the one that was saying the best 2 years of my life was when I met you and when we're opening and right now. And then the one where she was talking about, I remember that scene where she was, she's got that cute hat on.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in that scene, she's talking about how she wanted to just get in her car and drive. And I remember watching that scene because I was like, I have felt that a million times.
Yeah.
And he was just so supportive. And so, obviously we don't see anything outside of what the cameras show and what they put on social media, which is never the whole story.
Never the whole story.
But that Tom, you would never think would be this Tom.
You would never think. And in hindsight, right? So obviously it's really hard to watch. You don't know who this guy is because they don't seem like they're the same person. No. And then you remember that there was another affair somewhere in between Rachel and Miami Girl that we never found out about, by the way.
No, they dropped that at the reunion for last season, right?
Or was it finale?
The finale. It was the finale.
With Sheena.
Mm-hmm.
And we never found out who that was with, although Lala speculated it was with Billy Lee. I wouldn't be surprised if it was with Billy Lee, but we don't know that, so I'm not going to say it is.
We're not out here saying it is, but I could agree with that theory.
Listen, it very well could have also just been a random girl.
Miami
Girl was a random girl.
They loved hooking up with random girls on their boys' trips.
We never once got to see a face of anyone Schwartz made out with.
No. But I never understood those boys' trips. I get wanting to go on a trip with your friends because I've done girls' trips before, but you're telling me you can't go on a boys' trip without getting blackout drunk and hooking up with someone that is not your wife or girlfriend?
Is it a lack of self-control? Are you an alcoholic?
Why be in a monogamous relationship if you're just going to cheat all the time? Just be polyamorous. I don't know.
It's just so crazy.
Be a non-monogamous. It is a thing you can do. No one is telling you to be in a monogamous relationship. If you feel like you can't, then don't.
The ineptitude is just outrageous.
Oh, it's, yeah.
But also, Ariana's starting to feel her feelings a little bit. And, I think it's funny because, right, the scene before Sheena had mentioned that Ariana might not have fully processed the breakup yet. And I think in that moment that she's sitting in Tom Tom for the first time.
You can see it.
Since discovering the affair.
Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, I think that was kind of really the moment.
I didn't expect her to break down like that. But it was nice to see that she's not bottling it up.
Mm-hmm.
And is just kind of.
She's human.
It was brave, very brave of her to go. And very, very loving for James to go and support him like that.
Honestly, yeah, because if it were me, I don't think I would have gone.
No, and I don't think James would have held that against her if you didn't go. That's the scene of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
It's the scene of the crime. I don't think he would have held it against her.
Do the music number.
It's the scene of the crime. We're gonna done at the scene of the crime. Does anyone know Legally Blonde musical?
Anybody in the void out there?
Remember that?
So next scene, Lala and Lisa are just off on their own in Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And they start talking about how Lala starts to feel a little more forgiveness towards Raquel. Now, reminder again, this is only a few months after
3 months. This is 3 months post reunion. Yeah.
And she's already feeling the forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that we actually see her reach out to Raquel.
Audacity.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because, obviously we heard Raquel mention it or Rachel. We heard her mention it for the first time on Bethany's podcast.
Yeah, I didn't give that my viewership. I saw clips on TikTok.
Unfortunately, I did because I was too nosy. And
yes,
I
you
just
Snapchatted me as you were listening.
I needed the instant gratification, but it was a little crazy. I was actually kind of surprised that of all the people that was going to reach out to Raquel, that Lala was the first one.
Yeah, I expected Sheena to be the first to fold to Raquel.
Kind of. I think we all did.
Yeah,
at this point.
But I said this to you on the couch that it was almost understandable that Lala was the first one because she knows what it is to be the mistress. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like Katie had said, it is two completely different people, two completely different scenarios. And I think reaching out, you can have empathy without reaching out to someone who just destroyed your best friend's life.
Quite literally.
Because I wouldn't do, fuck that.
And honestly, she kind of just made the entire friend group just implode.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
That
affair, destroyed the whole dynamic of the show.
And, I won't say it now because we'll go into it a little bit later. But by the way, still no Tom Sandoval because we forgot that he was, forgot he was still filming Straight Up.
They literally said it on the show. Ariana said it. She was still out filming, and we got to halfway through, and we both were like, "Where's Tom? Where's Sandy?"
As if we were supposed to care, but also,
I mean, I don't. If he's never on my TV again, I'd be okay.
So we forgot. But also, Ariana's Paris Olympics commercial.
Oh, yes. And that, I think I said this 5 times tonight. That confessional dress was
fire.
Every confessional.
A lot of the confessional styles.
Almost every
fire.
confessional look so far has been really good. There have been years where they've really shitty confessional looks, like Rachel's Victorian dress. Lala's had some bad ones. Brittany's had some bad ones. So far, everyone's confessional look was good. That pink dress. Oh, I want it.
I really like that pink dress.
That was really. It was the color was good on her. The shape was good on her. But yes, I want it. Was she going to be at the Olympics?
I have no idea what that commercial was about.
For the Olympics 2024.
I was too busy taking notes, and I was also still drinking. So
yes.
But apparently, she made a Paris Olympics commercial.
Girl. Get that money.
No, seriously.
Get that money.
Listen, she's got to pay for all those lawyer fees now because she's got to sue Tom to sell the house.
Yeah.
And,
well, she's getting her money. She's on Broadway.
She's got to do what she's got to do.
She's got her commercials.
Mm-hmm.
She's living her life.
Get your bag, girl.
Yeah, get your bag, girl. I said this. If all women who were betrayed like that could get the kind of compensation and the clout, shall we say, that Ariana's getting, I'm all for it. You can get it, girl.
Seriously. By the way, now we're at Katie going to Schwartz's house. I guess that she must have been going to pick up the dogs.
Yes, they're shared custody, which I absolutely adore. That they have shared custody of the dogs.
I think that's cute.
I'd do that. I told my mom if I ever move out, we're sharing custody of Bubba.
Well, that's different, though, if it's with your mom. I don't know if I could do that with, an ex-partner. I mean, Roxy's my dog, so I'm not splitting her with anybody.
Sorry, Max. No, I'm kidding. Max is going nowhere. He's stuck forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's very almost, I don't want to say mature, but it's definitely a different dynamic with dogs.
Well, it's nice, too, because, now it seems like the dogs are a reason to maintain a somewhat good relationship aside from the friend group.
Yes, although she doesn't seem like she wants to have a friendship with him at all.
And nobody really blames her for that because,
no, absolutely not.
Schwartz in his own way has showed tendencies to
he straight up lied at the reunion that he had no idea in Mexico. But Rachel said on her podcast that he knew.
Yep.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Because his apartment was where they were facilitating the
But honestly,
the affair. Although I don't think at this point Katie knew that.
I feel like everybody kind of sort of knew it.
But
they just didn't have definitive
the confirmation.
proof.
The confirmation's come, I think, recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But like, I think everybody internally kind of knew.
Kind of. I mean, yeah. They weren't shy about doing it at the house, though, because...
Which is ridiculous. But that must be a pretty big house if they were able to get away with doing that. I can't believe
Tom
Sandoval had Raquel in the hot tub while Ariana was away.
I mean, it's your standard house. I mean, I've never been where they are, but it looked like your standard couple of... I mean, I think it was only down the hall that the guest room was.
Crazy.
Wild. Like, how deeply are you sleeping that you don't hear... Right? Because they say that they hooked up while
I think the walls were probably thick enough, but like maybe the room was far enough down the hall.
Their master bedroom is down. Is he sleeping in the room now where
I
just now realized that. Because they show that they have 2 separate rooms. She's in the master bedroom, so he must be in the guest room. Where he and Raquel hooked up while Ariana was sleeping. Do you remember
that shit all the time?
I forget where she said it. I think it was the reunion that she had woken up and he said, he was like, "Oh, I was just bringing Rachel water." She saw him come out of that room. Yeah, grody,
so gross,
grody. But I don't disparage Katie for not wanting to have a relationship with her ex-husband.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And honestly,
they do very limited.
They do still seem to have somewhat of a good friend dynamic. I know Katie said in her confessional that the only access that Tom has into her life is through the dogs. But it seems like it works.
Good boundary for her.
I think it's a great boundary for her.
After everything that happened last season, absolutely.
Well, even in the years prior to it, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
I think that... And Max and I have actually talked about this all the time. I think that Katie and Schwartz have just had such an awful relationship for the most part. Like, we don't understand why they didn't break up much sooner.
No, I don't understand why they ever got married.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of this, always seemed a little codependent that they had been together for so long that they didn't know how to not be together. And so they just did what they thought they had to do, which was get married. I mean, she obviously wanted to marry him, but I think... She was mean to him. He was mean to her. He cheated on her all the fucking time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like she should have cut her losses years ago. Saved herself a lot of money on that wedding. The wedding was pricey.
It was pricey. Beautiful. It was pretty,
but it was pricey.
Listen, just save it all for the right person. Mm-hmm. I hope that Katie ends up finding the right one.
I hope so too. I'm excited to see her with a lady.
Yeah, we still have yet to see we're going to see a little love triangle this season between the three
That'll
of them.
Be a nice separation from the Scandoval fallout.
This would be very, very... I feel like this season is definitely going to give us a lot of pushing away from Scandoval and start, hey, we're moving on now. So I think that this is going to be a good segue into like, okay, now what? Like
now post Scandal, what do we do? Yeah.
What do?
I am looking forward, though, to Katie, like, being her true, authentic self, I
think she'll thrive.
I think she will, too. Like you said earlier.
Especially with the sandwich shop, too.
Oh, my God. I am so excited for something about her.
Me, too. God, please, let it be open.
Just keep letting it be open.
Like, let it be open.
Let it be open. The last I heard...
we're trying to go to California so we can try out some sandwiches.
Last I heard... I don't forget what subreddit it was because I'm on 2 of them like a Looney Tune. I think they keep getting hit with like violations or permit something another. Like they're always... It's like they had to redo the outside patio. They had to redo the awning. Like it seems like it's... one thing after another, which I kind of hate for them because they so wanted to open in a better time frame than I was about to say Tom, Schwartz, and Sandy's. But the inside looks done. Yeah. They shot their intro scene there.
I know. It was definitely done. Well, it's crazy, right? Because they had the whole outdoor patio set up out there, right?
Yes, and now it's gone.
The only reason they had it to begin with was because of COVID. Because they needed the outdoor seating.
Oh, is that why?
Because if you can't have too many people inside, you're losing out on all this revenue, right? Because you have a limited amount of people. So that's why you need people outside.
Okay, so the old owners of that place had that outdoor patio
because of COVID.
Okay,
now that COVID's over.
So when they opened it, they had kept it, and then I remember I read something that the inspector came through and told them they had to get rid of it
because they needed something about more ample walking space or something like that on the street.
And it's not. We're in a semi-post COVID world.
But why not keep outdoor seating? I just don't understand that part.
I don't think I act like I know anything about California building codes. It must have just not be enough square footage, like on the sidewalk to road kind of thing. You know how like when you look at TomTom and Sir, they have the outdoor patio space, but because the sidewalk is larger, or they built the building farther back so you can have that space. But where something about her is it doesn't look like it has that same kind of area that Sir and TomTom do.
Right.
So they probably can't, there's probably not enough space to have an outdoor seating.
Well, now they have it, but they just have it in the back.
So that makes sense.
They just simply had to move it. But either way, what a waste, you know?
Yeah.
What a waste of time, what a waste of resources. It's annoying.
Yes.
But while Katie and Schwartz are just hanging out in his apartment,
looking at his pet bugs,
Schwartz kind of mentions that he misses Ariana, which, you know, kind of sucks for him. But he asks Katie if she could talk to Ariana for him. And she's like,
absolutely not.
Don't think I should be getting involved in that situation.
Absolutely not. If you want to talk to Ariana, have the balls to go over and say, I am sorry for all that I did to contribute to the affair and the lies that I said. Take your accountability for your part in it and apologize to her. And if she still doesn't want to be your friend, deal with the consequences of your actions.
As if it's such a hard concept.
It's for a lot of people, it is.
It is.
That there are consequences to your actions. And just because you don't like those consequences doesn't mean they don't exist. You made the choice to stand by your friend while he cheated on his very long-term girlfriend. So the consequences of that is that you lose a friend who was a groomswoman in your wedding.
Literally a groomswoman.
I mean, this is the consequence of your actions. But if Tom Schwartz wants to have a relationship with Ariana, do the work to facilitate it. And then respect the boundaries she places if she still doesn't want to talk to you. Because I wouldn't want to talk to you. It's over, man.
No siree.
Shut that damn door.
So next scene, the girls go out for dinner. It's Lala, Ariana, Katie, and Sheena.
Which I love.
I love when the gals get together.
I love a good girls' night scene, but if the four of them can get along this season, I am going to love it. I like when the girls all get along.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some hiccups along the way.
Well, yeah, because we have that little sneak peeker of Sheena and Schwartz kissing. Okay. Did that happen when she was with Shay?
Ooh.
I just now thought about it. I'm getting so off track. But we're gonna have that little squabble, so I don't think this very good girl dynamic is gonna last long. But I just realized that it didn't happen while she was with Shay.
Well, there have been some hints, right, that apparently it might not be what we think it's going to end up being.
I mean, she blatantly said she kissed he said he made out with Sheena. So
listen, but Schwartz also has been known to just say things.
That's true.
So I think that if anything was to have come from it, it might have just been like a kiss. Even Sheena had denied that it was like a full-on makeout.
Yeah.
There's like some talk on the streets. It's probably just a little bit of a red herring. It might not have been like a full-on makeout. Everything seems to be just fine. Okay. And that's really the only thing I'm really basing it off of.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be still fine because Katie can hold a grudge.
Oh, I love it. But
they're still good, I think.
I hold a grudge too. I hold a grudge not for myself. I'm a grudge holder for like people that have wronged my siblings or like my parents, my friends. Like you could have let it go. Like if someone you had it out with someone and you were like, I'm letting it go, I'm like, that's fine, but I'm gonna hold a grudge for life.
Like you do you.
Yeah, you forgive and forget all you want, baby girl, but I will not forgive nor forget what has been done to you.
Well, speaking of, it's funny. Katie mentions to Ariana that Schwartz misses her. Schwartz really wants to talk to her.
Yeah.
And her response is, yes, exactly. But she goes, well, That's too bad.
I love that for her.
Which
Go
was,
off,
I
queen.
thought, a wonderful response.
Wonderful. Because she's right. It's too bad. Too bad. So sad.
You know,
You
like,
should have
listen,
thought
this was
about
only
that.
a few months ago, and you made the conscious decision for
I mean,
the
you
last, like, 8
sat
months
there.
to...
You sat there at the reunion and went along with every single lie that Tom Sandoval said.
Meanwhile, you had them literally fucking at your apartment.
In your calling your apartment, that's where they would take their phone calls. I mean, they didn't it come out? They had that little FaceTime fun time in Schwartz's house.
I know she was in New York for Watch What Happens.
If I'm not mistaken,
he might have been.
The recorded FaceTime that he had of her was taken at Schwartz's house.
So
yeah, no, if I was Ariana, fuck you, dude.
Yo, seriously.
Hell no. Again, the consequences of your actions, which is a very hard thing that people do not understand for being in their 30s. But, you know, we all grow up eventually, I guess, or not.
And then Ariana basically acknowledges that Sandoval was more or less the reason why Ariana had always had her guard up around Katie, around Lala.
Actually blew my mind a little bit.
I don't know. To me, it made sense.
It made sense, but I didn't think that was... I always assumed it was Stassi.
No.
I didn't think it was.
I think Sandoval.
I didn't think it was Sandoval. It makes sense now, but in thinking back on past seasons, I always just assumed she wasn't friends with Katie because of Stassi, because she had said that before when they were in.
Well, remember, you and I actually were watching with completely different lenses on.
That's very true.
You were watching with like the pre-Sandoval lens,
yes,
and I watched it post-Sandoval.
Yeah,
so it's like I was expecting everything, you know, from Sandoval.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I always assumed it was because of Stassi, because I remember the season that they went to Vegas to look at stuff for Tom Tom. It was the weekend of Tom's birthday. Jax had come along. Yeah. She said in a confessional that if that version of Katie was Katie all the time without the three-headed monster of Katie, Kristen, Stassi, that she would be friends with Katie. So I always just assumed it was a Stassi thing. And they have been getting closer since Stassi hasn't been on the show. So I really was a little shooketh that it was a Sandoval thing. But also not surprising because he, as we have seen, he's a master, well, I don't want to say master manipulator. He's a terrible liar and terrible manipulator, but he tries.
I mean, it seems to work, though, to some degree for some reason. But we just have the benefit of Bravo's wonderful editors to always bring up the receipts.
The editing team deserves like a gajillion Emmys for their receipts and the way that they just quickly call back to shit. They're like, no. I have that on camera, buddy. Oh, yeah. I like this. They're not afraid to like break a fourth wall anymore.
I was saying too, like before when we were sitting on the couch, you know, I kind of hope that there are moments this season where Tom Sandoval will go to like lie about some shit, and then they pull up his individual interview with Andy Cohen.
Yes,
that's the shit that I really want to see.
Yes,
when
did he do it with Andy?
Oh, God. This was like right around the reunion time. So Ariana, Rachel, and Sandoval each had their own individual interview.
Yes. Okay.
So one of the lies they caught him in was he said to Andy that he told Schwartz about the affair in January. But Schwartz was like, I've known since August. So.
I'm still not fully convinced that it was only that 7-8 months that it was. I really think
those theories are out there.
I really think it started with Rachella. I don't know. That could have, at least emotionally.
Well, there was an episode, and we actually watched this episode recently, where Rachel went out to the club with some of the other Sir girls or whatever, and I guess her phone was dead or it was off or whatever. And so she wasn't answering her phone when James was calling her. So he goes on a whole like berating texting spree.
No, that was
there's a theory that she was possibly with Sandoval that night too. But there's no confirmation. We don't know that's true. It's alleged.
Is that not the Pride when she
No.
Oh, it's different?
It wasn't Pride. I think it was just like a random night out.
God, I should do a rewatch.
We could do a rewatch.
We really should.
I was like, but I started Max, like, I felt like season 1 and the beginning of season 2 were just so not important.
No,
to the
you
story
really
for
got to
him.
do like.
I started because he started technically watching the reunion with me.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
said, you know what? You already know kind of the big meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
We can skip seasons 1 and
like
just go
half
to
of
like
2.
We kind of went to the part in season 2 when like Sandoval had admitted to
Yeah,
Ariana,
exactly.
to Stassi that he made out with Ariana at the Golden Nugget. That's where we started.
Golden Nugget. Now, that's a good place to start because that's really the start of everything. Everything
really
before
was.
then is just kind of like the Laura Lee stuff, the Jax, like with the I was gonna say Brittany and Stassi. They had the
which honestly, after everything, feels so unimportant.
So unimportant. Oh my god, it's crazy. Like you look back on some of the earlier season stuff and you're like, it's never gonna get more scandalous than the Golden Nugget and Jax and Kristen. It's never gonna top that. And then freaking Scandival comes around.
Here we are.
Yeah,
this was like that on steroids.
Oh yeah, because it was honestly like almost worse.
Yeah,
because at least. Not that it justifies either of their actions, but Kristen and Tom were like cheating on each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very toxic relationship. And they had been together, I think, like 6 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very different scenario than the Ariana one.
Yeah, very different scenario.
Very
and I
different.
think that they were both in like a different place in their relationship too.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, there were a lot of other layers there too, but
never thought anything.
Never should have happened on either end.
No, we don't cheat on our partners, guys. We break up or have a conversation.
Yeah.
Like grown-ups do.
I hope you guys don't have to hear my dog whining.
No,
she just
so sorry if you hear Roxy
missing having a little attention right now. I'm
She's
sorry, Rox.
a
You
drama
could just
queen.
you could just sit on the couch with us, girlie.
Yeah, come here, Rox. Cute little floppy ears.
So anyways, Lala then tells Ariana that she reached out to Raquel because she was thinking a lot about those last 5 minutes of part 3 of the reunion.
If looks could kill.
Oh my God.
Ariana's face. I don't know. You could see like a flash of betrayal on her face.
Well, I understand it though.
Yes,
because Ariana said it best in her confession.
Yes, Lala asked everyone to not associate with Randall, and Ariana did the exact same thing. And you blow up at people for talking to Randall and playing pickleball with him, but you expect Ariana to be okay with you texting the mistress 3 months out of, like, it's not even as long of a time frame.
Well, that's it, right? After all the shit that she talked. And like, yes, okay, I would want Lala in my corner, but you know, it's interesting because she pulled like a Sheena flip-flop. You know?
I was not expecting her to be the first flipper.
Yeah, I actually wasn't either. I thought that she was really going to hold her ground for a little bit longer. But
although she did say on Watch What Happens Live that she regretted that text message. So,
right, because she thought that was going to stay between the two of them. So much for that. But, you know, listen, I understand it. I get it. She was in that situation once before. I can also relate. I've been in that situation as well before. Yeah. Maybe not with a married man, but
no. But that's like I said this. I said this to you earlier that you can almost understand what Lala did was wrong, but to her 25-year-old mind, she believed what the guy she loved was telling her, and it was the same with Rachel. She was believing what the guy she thought she was in love with was telling her. It doesn't excuse their actions, but they were naive, and Lala has learned from it. Rachel has not, but Lala has learned from it. So I understood where she was coming from, wanting to reach out to Rachel because it was similar situations. And she was right last season. The women always get shit on more than the men do. But at the same time, maybe now's not, maybe a little later, we can reach out and be like, hey, I know we kind of were both mistresses. Like, we want to talk about it.
You know, let's bury the hatchet.
Bury the hatchet. Not that close to. Like, 3 months is really not that long. No, that's January to March. That's what? Like 12 weeks-ish?
I also find it interesting because she said that Rachel saw it right away, but she was still in the facility. So I'm kind of wondering how that worked.
Maybe she had her phone. Maybe she had access to her phone. I don't know what kind of facility it was. I didn't look that much into it.
True. Same. Neither did I.
I don't think it was like a general like rehab for like narcotics or alcohol where you don't have any access to the outside world, she probably still had her phone. Although I think if you were that mentally distressed and traumatized, you wouldn't have access to the things that were traumatizing you in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how, I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth on believing if she was actually in a facility for her mental health or if she was just on a spa retreat and didn't want to come back.
I feel like it might have been a mix of both. I think they had some of those like amenities at the location with them, but I do want to believe that she was still actually like taking some sort of action and seeing hopefully some sort of therapist. I don't know if they were the right kind of therapist, just based off of the result we're seeing from these freaking podcasts.
Oh my God. What is she going to do when she's no longer going rogue? Like, what else do you have to talk about?
Well, that's kind of what I'm curious about too. I'm like, what's going to happen with this podcast if like she's done talking about the entire scandal?
Make a whole podcast. Just make like a mini YouTube series, buddy. Are we past that? Did that age me?
No, I don't think so.
Like, you know, like old school when you like had like what's his name and Jeffree Star, they did that little like Sean, whatever his last name was, they did that like 3-part YouTube series together. Like, why make a whole podcast if all you're going to talk about going rogue for? Because when she made the announcement for her podcast, it was to talk about Scandival. So what are you going to go rogue for after?
Literally.
What are you going to go rogue for?
She's going to talk about like fucking reality TVT or some shit. I don't know.
I have no idea. Like I don't know. I don't see what the point of it was, because everything that she is saying is everything that we already speculated or knew, and she's not taking accountability for anything. Like I could see.
That's the crazy part. I think the justifications that she's trying to give for some of her actions, and it just doesn't make sense.
Consistently blaming Tom. And yeah, Tom sucks ass, but so do you. So do you. And to continuously, and this is the other thing, is that she keeps saying Ariana is not her friend, where me and Ariana weren't that close, but like the Bravo editors have the receipts, my man. Okay, baby girl, we have the receipts.
I just don't understand it. She went to all of her pageants. She was there consoling her on her fucking glamping trip.
They took her in when she and James, she stayed with them. Mm-hmm. And like, I bring you into my home. I am you like into my life.
And you fuck my man.
Of 9 years.
And you fuck
because
my
you
man.
wanted to know what it'd be like to do it with someone I was in love with. Like, come off it. Were you not in love with James?
I've never like 6 years.
I've never understood when she said that, because it made no. You're telling me that you accepted a man's proposal, but you were not in love with him. Although no, but didn't she say that they hadn't slept? They hadn't like had intimacy for like years at that point. Although I don't know if I believe her. I really have a hard time believing anything she says.
Yeah, I mean that at this point,
I don't know.
It's not really all that far off.
I think if you are in love with your friend's husband, long-term partner, remove yourself from the situation. Come clean to your friend.
And just don't try to give any explanations or justifications.
There's no justification.
I know. Say I'm sorry.
The heart wants what it wants, but sometimes what the heart wants is wrong. And we should just know from right from wrong. I mean, I don't know how you justify that. Like I could think you are the most horrible human being in the world, but I'm still not going to sleep with your freaking husband.
Yep. So Sheena then mentions in her confessional that, you know, if there was just a situation where Rachel really just fell in love with her best friend, Tom Sandoval, you know, maybe they would still be friends today. Maybe all would have been forgiven. But then a restraining order was just thrown upon her, and she wasted the court's time.
Oh, yeah. For what? For what? I mean, she allegedly did punch her in the face. And I don't necessarily believe Sheena when she says that she couldn't make a fist, because I am an acrylics girly, okay? They're not that long right now, but I am an acrylics girly, okay? I have long nails. I can make a fist. Does it hurt because my nails are poking my palm? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. It may look like this.
It hurts.
It hurts.
And she would literally break her hand if she
if
close-fisted
her, which is why I keep saying alleged, because her nails are much longer than yours and eyes.
Her nails are much longer than what mine are.
So if anything, her fist would look like this. Yeah. It would be like, I don't know.
You know what's funny too? There was a point where I was questioning that entire argument, and then obviously, like, I'm doing it right now, and I'm like, wait, nope, that makes sense. It tracks because this hurts.
It hurts. I think if anything, it was a slap across the face, which is never the answer.
Well,
violence is never the answer, but
it's not the answer.
I can't say I wouldn't also slap someone if I found out that they slept with my best friend's like husband, long-term partner.
Yeah.
I'd slap someone for you.
I'd throw her phone too.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, we all know how that ended up. And obviously there was
I still think that she only did it so she didn't have to face Sheena at the reunion.
I think so too.
I think she didn't want
Which
to
was
face
stupid because she still ended up having to face Lala and James and Ariana.
Lala and James.
And Katie.
Like I said this to you earlier, we were watching right before the episode, they had the reunion from last season. And I said to Taylor, and I was like, if I ever had this happen, I want James, Lala, and Katie in my corner. Because James and Lala are going to go like rabid dog on that person. And then Katie's going to come in with a more quieter, logical argument. Still obliterate you, right? She's still going to drag you through the mud, but she's going to do it in a much...
Katie's the type that will hurt you with her words.
A much less rabid way than the pit bull that is, and I hate saying that because pit bulls are gentle souls, but like much more aggressively. Like Lala and James go for the freaking jugular. Like, they are not. She stands up. She's throwing it. She's ready. And then you've got Katie just sitting there like, And that's what I want. That's what I want if I'm ever in a fight. I want that. If Scandival ever happened to me, I want Lala and James and Katie.
That would make sense. So Ariana then, you know, after all the confessionals, Ariana basically expresses her disapproval, saying, listen, I'm probably not going to ever forgive Raquel. But
she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to at all.
Exactly. Nobody has to argue about it. Everybody's entitled to feel how they want to feel. I think Ariana at this point in time has come to the conclusion that, you know, it's not really her place to tell anybody what they can and can't do with their lives, but
she can draw boundaries where she wants them.
Yes. So she might not approve, but nobody argued about it. Everybody did a nice cheers.
I know. It was very interesting.
And then next thing you know, we blink and the end of the episode is here and we are getting the ending of Tom Sandoval returning from Special Forces filming, walking into his house, saying, Hello?
Sir, she's not home. She's outliving her life. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. So, and then that was it. That was the end of the episode. So.
And then the preview, which is the same preview that they've been showing for weeks now. Yeah. So it wasn't anything new that we haven't seen.
Nothing new.
No. Really. I am interested, though, to see how... I remember, I think Ariana commented somewhere or someone said something somewhere where she said that people will turn on her this season.
Yes, she did. She does think that people are going to turn on her this season.
Which I think is interesting. I don't know. What is the worst? It doesn't seem like she's asking for much.
Well, we were watching Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah.
You know, before we started recording. And, you know, Lala even said it herself that, you know, she kind of stood by her statement where she's never seen anybody get cheated on and they suddenly they're a god.
It was very instantaneous. It was like the week after she had a Duracell commercial.
Yeah.
The shaving the razor commercial. Like, it was very whoop.
Yeah. So,
right there.
I mean, listen, she, in the moment, I'm sure viewers definitely thought it was jealous. She stands by it. She says that people are probably going to agree with her. And I'm kind of curious. So that episode is going to be the finale.
Yes, I was going to say, by the outfit, that looks like the finale.
So I'm sure that there will probably be some sort of instances. And honestly, it kind of makes sense because I'm thinking back to the time when Kristen found out that Sandoval had cheated on her with Ariana. So, you know, we all branded her as Crazy Kristen. So
that was Sheena's engagement party.
Oh, no, the wedding. Well,
no. When she found out,
yes, you're right.
It was Sheena's engagement party.
Yes. I'm thinking about the time that she slapped James.
That was the wedding.
That was the wedding.
Poor Sheena.
It just
I don't think she's ever held an event that didn't have something going on there. Because even this past season, her wedding was eclipsed by Scandival. Because you may not have known
justice
it.
for Sheena, man.
You may not have known it, but Tom and Rachel were hooking up during Mexico at their wedding. So she didn't know it at the time. But shit was still going down in her wedding. Yeah, she's like, I'm over it, you guys. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'd be tired. Okay. What are you looking forward to the most this season?
You know, that's kind of hard, right? Because I feel like Scandival was just such a tough act to follow. So, you know, obviously we're not going to get any resolve when it comes to Scandival. Not even in the slightest.
Because Rachel was too much of a coward to come back.
We already know that something about her is not open. So we don't have that to look forward to.
So sad. We do have, it does seem though that we have maybe a little bit of look into like how it's going.
I do look forward to seeing the development of something about her for sure. I'm just really curious and interested in what else there is going to be. I mean, I know that we have a love triangle between Schwartz and Katie.
And the pink-haired girl.
With the pink-haired girl.
Joe shows up.
Yeah, okay. So, you know what? Now I'm remembering.
We have Jax.
Oh,
Jax comes back. And one of the final shots of the trailer, when they're at that final party, it looks like one of the people, they have their back to the camera, but it looks like it's Brittany.
I kind of hope so. Well, they have to because they need to do their plug for the Valley.
You know what? I was wondering.
Do you think they'll bring back Kristen?
I don't know if Kristen comes back this season, but I know Jax does.
I know Jax is.
I'm wondering if because we had looked up when the Valley comes in and it's spring of this year. So I'm wondering if that final party, right? Jax comes in maybe a little later in the season, maybe like mid-season, has this little thing with Tom and
Lisa, yeah.
And has all that. And then they come back for the final party of whatever that party was for. And they do what they did with the first episode of Vanderpump was to seamlessly go in from Vanderpump Rules to the Valley. And so you have them at this party and then you follow them home and voila, you're in the Valley with the life of Jax and Brittany and their son. And then that's how you seamlessly go into this new show, which will take the time slot.
Well, that's how they did Beverly Hills going into Vanderpump, too.
So maybe they'll, and it's a Vanderpump spinoff. So maybe they'll do it like that. That would be a really good intro. And because you would catch it yourself in it without realizing that you're in it. Because that's what happened to me. I was watching The Real Housewives and that whole Sheena Brandy thing. And I watched them, have that talk. And then it just like very seamlessly went into Vanderpump. And halfway through the episode, I was like, wait, I'm watching something completely different.
Well, they did that with Summer House,
House, yes. Yeah. When they went to Montauk, yeah. Yes. That one was a little less, less subtle than the OG.
That was definitely like very in your face.
I was like, boom.
You're watching the whole the entire episode was basically just stop, like all the girls from Vanderpump leaving the Hamptons, and then we just follow the people in the Hamptons. It's like, oh, so we're still here? We're in the Hamptons?
I never actually watched that. You couldn't pay me to watch that.
I've tried. I've never made it through the full episode, and that's probably why I never got into Summer House.
No,
because it's like I don't care.
Introduction, when he said Stassi looked like Steve Jobs with her turtleneck bathing suit. Oh I was like, why am I going to watch this? Yeah, but I'm very excited to see. As much as I do not like Jax on my television screen, I am interested to see what he has to say coming into the season.
I'm not gonna lie, me too. Not a huge Jax fan.
Oh no, I think he's a terrible human being.
Although I think he's gotten, and this is just from our rewatch, I think that he's definitely gotten a lot better in the years that he's ended up with Brittany. Not to say that he's still shiny, clean, perfect, because he's definitely not. But I just really want to see him rip Shandival. I really want to see him rip Scandival.
You know what? All the same.
Yeah.
All the same.
I just want to see him rip Tom Sandoval to shreds.
I mean, maybe he won't even do that.
Yeah, that's true. They do become friends again, so there's a good chance.
Have they spoken since?
Oh yeah, they've been hanging out and everything.
Okay.
Tom Schwartz had put out a post. I guess they had all hung out, and he put a caption out, basically saying like, "Oh, we're gonna get the band back together."
Yeah, because they hadn't seen each other since season 8.
Yeah. Well,
right? The reunion.
yes, but also
I don't follow Jax on Instagram, so I have no idea.
This posting question happened after filming this season, so they had already seen Jax since then. And then I remember seeing a follow-up caption saying, I was just reading the comments. I guess we're not getting the band back together. Or I guess we shouldn't get the band back together.
Yes. I remember that now. Yes, because no one wanted to see Jax on their television screen anymore. Yeah.
Well, nobody wanted to see the Nobody wanted to see the Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges, yes, who do nothing but cause trouble. But I am interested to see if Jax takes like this moral high ground about the situation.
Of course he will.
Or if he tries to be like, oh, buddy, it's okay. I've done it too. Blah 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 blah. Because he's all about that like dad life now. Like, oh, it's okay. We all change and grow.
Did you ever watch the 3 episodes of Jax and Brittany watching the Sheena's wedding episodes?
No, because you couldn't pay me to watch it.
Listen,
I will watch The Valley simply because Kristen is on it. And I would love to see, especially with that tagline of just, like battling adulthood or like whatever the freaking tagline is for it. Like they're not all in their 40s.
That's the crazy part. They're all just tackling their adulthood.
I will watch The Valley, right? Because it's not just Jax and Brittany. But I will not watch Jax and Brittany watch Vanderpump. Why am I going to do that? Why am I going to do that?
It was just funny watching their commentary, knowing what they know, because they already knew about the scandal and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just making their little commentary. And it was interesting to watch because, yes, Jax definitely went on his moral high ground. So that's why I kind of remember that.
Was the wedding episodes post-Scandival coming out? I don't remember. I feel like all of that was like a fever dream. I can't remember if the wedding was...
No, yeah, the scandal had definitely happened. At that
already,
point.
Right?
Yes.
Once we got to the wedding.
Once we got to the wedding, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It was because once the scandal broke, I think that the season had only had like a few episodes out.
I'm gonna look on Peacock real quick. Peacock app shout out. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, I just thought about that when the wedding episodes. But no, I didn't watch the wedding because
the scandal was already out. I think that's why. I think that them watching the wedding episodes was probably Bravo's way of being like, we'll see how this is received, and if this does well, we'll look into maybe doing like a spinoff for you guys.
Well, they have had The Valley in the works since season 8.
No shit.
Yes. They
Are you serious?
Yes. So the plan was because if you remember, they had like Max and what's his name?
Oh, Max and Brett.
Another
and
two
Dana.
fucking
stooges.
Dana can come back Dana.
No, Dana.
Dana can come back
She's
whenever she wants.
She's got that podcast with Katie now.
Yes. But if you remember, they brought in that whole new group of servers.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan was to keep Vanderpump Rules about the restaurants and then the OG cast.
Oh, right.
Because they all had just moved to the Valley. So it was going to transfer to them in the Valley and it was going to be Vanderpump Valley.
And then everybody got fired.
COVID happened. They've
canceled.
They had this show on the back burner. So once with this whole rejuvenation of Vanderpump Rules with the scandal, they must have brought it back out. And like Stassi had said on Jeff Lewis's podcast, they asked her if she wanted to be on it because she was supposed to be on the original. She said no. So I'm sure them having Jax and Brittany, it was already probably like the show was probably already like 10 steps into being in production because that was not that long ago.
Yeah.
And it seems like the show was probably recorded in and around the same time as this current season of Vanderpump, which would have been over the summer.
That makes sense because they did a lot of crossovers with like Sheena and Lala. So like we're gonna see those two with their kids on the Valley as well.
Yes, because Cruz is friends, I think.
Yeah, Cruz is about the same age as
they're all the same age, but I don't know if they socialize. I know that
I believe they do.
They socialize with
Hartford. Hartford,
yeah. But I don't know if they see Cruz. But I am interested to see how it all goes.
It'll be
but it does not look like Jax has grown up at all.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Since he's been on the show. It seems like he's at Jax's studio his little bar.
Oh, I
Pop-up
forgot
bar.
he opened a bar.
He didn't really open a bar. I think it's like a pop-up thing. Like it's an attachment to another bar.
Well, this is I thought that this was supposed to be like a little gateway to like Mama's or Mima's beer cheese or something like that. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
Brittany's cheese company.
Yeah. I don't know, but I've on the subreddits. It seems like Jax's studio is just a pop-up at another bar
That's a
and
little
adjacent
weird.
to another bar. It doesn't seem like it's actually like a Schwartz and Sandy's kind of thing.
It's kind of weird.
I guess we'll find out on the Valley. But
I love how he was trying to like pitch it as like a full-on bar.
no, from what I've seen, it looks like it's literally just like a whoop.
Like, here we are.
Yeah. Or how it was like Tom Tom, the garden at Tom Tom.
Which is now Pump.
Yes. So I think it is generally like kind of that same idea where it's Jax's studio, whatever, in Studio City or whatever the freaking name is. Like, and I think it's like adjacent to another bar that's already like set up. So he's just using like that other place. I don't think it's actually like a Schwartz and Sandy's kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because the subreddit, every time I see pictures of it, there's like nobody in there. People will like go and it's like empty as shit. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you got to start somewhere. I won't pass too much judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, Schwartz and Sandy's, if Scandival didn't happen, maybe they would have been super packed in that first year. But, you know, Sandoval had to go ruining it for the entire bar.
God. I mean, it didn't help that people were going and leaving bad reviews on Yelp, which I don't think was the answer. We were all very
and vandalizing their bathrooms.
Vandalizing, yes. I understood that we were all very hurt by something because we've had these people in our lives for like 11 years now. At this point, it's been like a decade the show has been on TV. So I understood feeling betrayed by these people that you thought were one way, you know, the whole parasocial, but like going into like because there's other investors in that bar that's not just the Toms.
Well, I was even going to say too, it's the other employees there. So it's like the servers, the bartenders, the cooks, the chefs. Like,
it's not just Tom and Tom that you were ruining. Yeah. It's other people. That's not the answer. The answer is
like if the place got shut down, you would have been ruining the lives of the other people who work there that need the job. If you feel
hurt by what happened, unfollow them, and that's hurtful enough to them. I mean, their whole, I don't know, don't go to Tom's show. Go to Tom's show and throw a tomato at him. That'd be funny.
I mean, listen, the shows were free. We already knew that. So,
did you know he was here at, I think it was Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods at some point?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there like sign just like a freaking sheet with like a lightning bolt on it?
I have no fucking
But yeah,
idea.
he was here. I think it was like some point last year. He was up at like Mohegan Sun or something. Like,
I'm sure that show was free.
Oh yeah. I was tempted. But like I really don't need to hear like a cat screeching.
I was going to say, save your ears.
Ariana's the singer, as she said in her interview.
Well, that's why she's on Broadway and he's not.
Broadway baby. Yes.
Well, that is pretty much everything with season 11 premiere of Vanderpump Rules. Thank you. If there is anybody in our little void here entertaining the idea of listening to us, thank you so much for doing so. Yeah.
Come hang out with us for a few minutes, an hour, a half hour, however long this ends up being.
And we'll be here weekly. We don't know what day we'll be popping up just yet, but keep in touch, and we'll be on socials very soon. We'll be Pumped Up Tea Podcast or Pumped Up Tea Pod, whatever socials allow me to do.
Yeah,
and
send us questions.
Yes,
your comments on the episode.
Yeah,
maybe eventually we can do like fun polls and stuff. What everybody thought.
That would be so fun. Yeah. Listen, if you end up on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment our videos. If you love us, if you hate us, let us know. Either way, we are happy to entertain all.
Although maybe don't say that you hate me. I think I would be sad. Don't do that. Be nice to me.
And we'll be here. We'll be watching Vanderpump. Yeah. We'll probably be entertaining other reality shows too.
Oh, I'm sure we'll transfer to the Valley after this.
We'll probably transfer to the Valley.
I'm trying to get her to agree to make this also about the Housewives, but we'll see.
Maybe. I really have to figure out where my priorities lie when it comes to the Housewives, and maybe The Bachelor. We're only a couple of weeks into The Bachelor, so we could always jump in there.
Jump in The Bachelor, yeah.
I was on MTV shows for the longest time for a bit. The Challenge was a really great show. I believe that's coming coming to an end soon. But
I never really got into those. I've been a Bravo
so
girl for
fun.
like a decade now.
So the only reason why I was ever watching the challenge is because way back in the day, I was watching like other MTV shows. So like, Are You the One? X on the Beach.
Oh my God, what was the one where they were like on a bus?
Next.
Yes.
Next.
Yes.
Oh, Next was great. And Room Raiders. Do you remember Room Raiders? Oh,
Good
that was
times.
like peak MTV.
I know.
But the challenge would always recruit like the Are You the Ones, the X on the Beaches, and then eventually they ended up getting people from like Survivor and Big Brother, and it's basically just a competition reality TV show where you play a lot of physical games, mental games, it's puzzles, it's math, it's a whole lot of different stuff, and it's a lot of politics.
I'll sit on my couch. That sounds exhausting.
It's a lot, but it is definitely fun. I'm actually currently watching The Traitors right now.
Kate from Below Deck was on the first season of that, I think.
I've never seen it from the first season, but I'm watching the current season now. There's a couple of my challenge faves on that show. So like CT, Johnny Bananas. I did notice that Larsa from Housewives Miami, one of Kim K's ex-besties, is on that. Or
Miami is a spicy group of housewives.
Yeah.
Some tea happens in the Miami universe.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They started that one years ago.
There's a lot of housewives on this season.
They started Miami Housewives, if I remember. They started that one like maybe almost a decade ago, and they did like a season. It dropped off, and then they like picked it back up at some point.
Oh, I did hear that actually. They took like a little breaky.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, maybe I'll get her to be a Housewives girl.
Yeah,
a Bravo celebrity.
We shall see, but like I said. Like, give us a little love, and heart. We'll be here either way, just talking into the void. So.
If not, yeah, it's fun for us too.
We just like talking about it. So if anybody likes listening to it, then we're here.
Yeah. Every week, baby.
Every
week, you can listen to us on your drive to work. These two having their shenanigans post-episode.
Oh, careful, please, Sheena. Don't come after us. We are not intentionally trying to use shenanigans.
I forgot about that. And no, Sheena, I'm so sorry. I love you.
Well, thanks, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.